Good day. Welcome to another edition of the Africans in America podcast. With me is Weruche Uzoka.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, Weruche, there is a trend going on now on social media, Facebook, TikTok, and all the other social media platforms that says America is hard. We have situations where a lot of people now, especially video reels and video content creators from on Facebook, they will be saying things like, hey, America is very tough. This is an advice to anybody who's trying to come to America. It is not a good place to be coming to now. Don't sell your property, don't sell your land, don't sell your houses and start coming to America. America is very, very tough. And in the same vein, we get a lot of pushback from people back home in Africa who say, if America is so tough, how come you're still there? You don't want us to come to America. You keep making this content about how tough America is, and yet you are in America. Now, for many people who are in this country, whether America is tough or America is not tough is a personal thing. But living in a Western world is not easy because here there's no freebie. There's bills to pay. There's so many bills to pay, and most times people barely meet up. But the difference between America being tough and America being sweet is a good job or a good paying position and all that, and how you transition into being a comfortable person in society. Yeah. Weruche, this talk about America being tough, America, what side of the divide are you on? Do you think America is tough?
America is not an easy place to reside. Everybody knows that, especially in recent years. I mean, starting with this Trump administration and even when he was president a couple years ago. Yeah, so definitely it's not, I mean, I have my own experience with America being tough, right? And it's not expected to be a smooth journey. Let's establish that. It's not expected to be perfect, but there's a level of toughness that requires you to highlight, okay, or maybe, wonder or research what exactly could be going on. So yes, different demographics will find America either easier or tougher or whatever it is, depending on like the career you have, depending on your status here and all of that. So for me, yes, I agree America is tough. I also agree some people could be having it easier than others for other reasons. But yes, a time came in my life in America where it was really tough. And it was really tough at a time when I had all the education I had gotten, right? I had more of an understanding of the place. I had more social networks, or like a better social network. But America was extremely tough for me. Like I went through, I think it was a 4 or 5 year period of no income in America. You know what I
Whoa.
mean? And so for me, if you so when you throw that question, that's very recent, not very long ago. And so for me, when you ask that question, was how tough, on what side? Oh, I'll tell you, America has been tough, can be tough, has been tough, right? Even for someone that doesn't expect America to be tough, it has been just no income, all the applications you're sending in for work, no one is responding. You're getting only like like denials for and the only thing I could pinpoint in that regard was the fact that I ran for office. And once I ran for office, things just went bad. So that's the only explanation I have. But the point is that that's when you actually find yourself being innovative. You have to be. You start to create a lot of different avenues for yourself, right? I started home businesses, right? I started doing little things here and there, and so that just so you look at it like sometimes those things come to you to not weaken you but strengthen you. So
Okay.
yes, is America tough? Yes, you could say that, but sometimes it could be good too. So yeah.
Okay. Before we continue, let me do what I always do, which is to call on people who are watching our production to help our channel grow. Like, subscribe, share, make comments. We still haven't started getting the kind of comments we want from people who are watching. Tell us your own experiences on the topics or the very topics we've been discussing. Um, from your dressing today, I will say that is leopard, and that's it's an African themed dressing, and your leopard print
Pretty
will signify that you're a fighter here. But now
much.
let's look at this. There's a
Aggressive
viral
yo.
video where one person was saying that how come he has somebody, I think he asked for money from a Nigerian and they sent him just 3,000 naira equivalent in dollars or whatever. And he was really mad. He was really angry. And he says, how come you've been in America for 7 years and I send you and I ask you for money and all you can do is send me $3,000? Between paying
Three
your
thousand
bills,
dollars or 3,000 naira?
3,000 naira, sorry, forgive me, $3,000. I'm sure that person would have gone to cost this 3,000 naira. At 3,000 or 7K, something. He was really angry that amount of money. And he was saying that if you've been here for 7 years and this is all you can do, you might as well come back home. In the midst of all the pressures you were going through in America, yeah, that time that you said things were really tough for you, most African immigrants who are here go through that. When you get calls from family members back home asking for and insisting and feeling entitled that you should send them something after all you're in America, what's your response to a situation like that?
I mean, that wasn't my reality because the people in my life knew what I was experiencing. But if it had been my reality, I mean, come on. I mean, first of all, it wouldn't be my reality. My siblings would be more sensible than that. People would be more understanding. But I mean, so first of all, the person that received the 3,000 naira or should have been grateful. And then it all depends on the kind of relationship you had with the person. Maybe the person was trying to prove a point as to how they didn't have enough money themselves. And so they were trying to make a point by sending that amount to show this is all I have to spare. I mean, you can never expect too much from anybody but yourself, quite frankly. You have to get to the point where you depend on only you. Like, yes, we have expectations, but those expectations should be lowered because it's really not anybody's role to be there for you. And so in my situation, I wouldn't have been very pleased with the person. Yes, 3,000 naira is probably like $2 or something, right? $2 is what the person sent him. I know, yes, it's very disappointing, but he should have just accepted it and then made his case as to why, that would have been. So I think that other person was trying to send him a message, as in maybe in the past he had given him so much in the past and had probably told him I don't have enough money. And then that was the only point he could make, which is kind of, passive aggressive. But it was, so yes, if someone had done that to me, I'd have been really disappointed in them. And yes, so the person who gave 3,000 naira, I think that was such a prank and a practical joke that you shouldn't have done. If you didn't have it to give them, don't give them at all. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
okay, but
my
now let's
position.
analyze what are the factors that really make America tough. We keep saying that surviving in America is not an easy thing.
Hmm.
More so, it's a credit economy, and the more access to a better
Hmm.
job and a better education that you have, the more they throw all these things at you. So at every given time, you are almost chasing. You're always like chasing more income because there are bills to pay. But in your
Yes.
own reckoning, what
Hmm.
are the factors that make this environment a tough one for many people?
It's a lot. First of all, if you don't, the saying that it's who you know. I learned that the hard way in America because when you think of the fact that when I had no American education, I had more of a stable income than when I now had triple American education, right? And yeah, I know. So I started to wonder if I was being picked on. I started to wonder if people were deliberately trying to. So is it really who you know or what you've been involved in? It's a lot of different factors that could expose you to the level, at least the level of what I experienced, basically, right? What else? What else? What else could be a factor? The fact that you don't have a social network that's reliable, that too is a factor. I've had jobs where maybe because I had more education than the people that hired me, they didn't want to give me a higher role. They didn't want to give me more hours, right? That could be, you could just be, picked on just because they see how bright you are. You're probably a threat to their job, so they will probably try to stifle you. Another factor could be the cultural differences. Maybe they just downright can't relate to you, right? And that's also going to cause a barrier. What else could be a factor? There are many factors.
Yeah.
There are many factors, but
Uh,
one of the factors that it is not, it is definitely not the fact that you're uneducated. Because trust me, a lot of those jobs, even kids from high school get those jobs. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes you could find yourself being overqualified. I found myself in lots of applications being overqualified. I was the one person that I tell my kids this all the time that I actually take things off. I'm not, so you know how they say people add things to their resume to make their resume more presentable for certain jobs. I take things off my resume. I apply to jobs and say, okay, I'm just going to use a bachelor's degree, or I'm not even going to let them know I have a master's. Or if I have a, oh,
yeah,
I'm going to present that I have only one master's. That I went through that, and
yeah.
it was a
Yeah, that
problem.
that that one you are just trying to get underemployed. You know that your qualifications may not be a good thing for you now. It's almost like sometimes even me too with a
Hmm.
PhD. I'm looking
Hmm.
for a job in academia, and
Hmm.
maybe you see an opportunity in a community college
Hmm.
right next to me here, and you find that you will get a response that, oh, we found somebody else. A doctorate looking for a job in a community college. The requirement in most community colleges is a bachelor's and a master's, right? And you come in with a PhD. They're not going to give you that job. And
Hmm.
any other place you come and you say, I have a PhD. So now you have to take away the PhD from you take it away,
Dude,
you
I
know what
did that so many times. I did that. There's this particular woman. I still have her name in my inbox. For years, I was applying to a human rights role, right? In, that I qualified for with my master's and all that. And I noticed, in fact, a lot of friends even referred that position to me over the years. And every time I would apply on the state website, right? I'd get like, oh, like rejections, denials. And I remember, look, so I gave up. I gave up on that thing, right? But I kept applying. Don't get me wrong, I would always put in those applications. And so I remember she would always send me like, it always seemed to be her. She was an HR person that would always send me like rejection letters all the time. Like almost like even down to the positions that I swear to God were like the lowest positions of on that ladder, right? She would always send me like letters saying, "Oh, we didn't." She sent me at least a good 30 letters, and maybe it's even more. So the last time I got a letter from her, I hadn't put in an application for like 2 years, I don't think. And the last time I got an application, I am a response from her was last year when I was leaving Connecticut, like August, when I was leaving Connecticut. I just randomly got an email from her telling me that, oh, you have not been approved for this position. And dude, promise you, I hadn't put in an application in 2 years. And I'm thinking, this woman, is there something behind the email you sent to me at the time? And so I responded to her and I said, I have to look for her name. I forget her name now. I
Nah,
said
leave
to
it. We
her,
know, we know this
no,
experience. We
no,
share
wait. And
it.
I
All
said to
of us
her,
share it. Yeah.
yeah. And I said to her, actually, you need to take my name off your system. I don't ever want to receive another email from you guys. I don't need your job, is
Yeah.
what I said. And that was it. And so I'm just telling you that when you talk about the factors that could cause a person to be unlucky in America or to struggle in America are the weirdest factors. A factor like being overeducated, but there's no such thing because at the end of the day, all the rejections and all the experience you get in between, like the what's his name said in Mastery, that those are the things that help propel you in your next role, if that makes any sense, right? So nothing should be looked at as if it's a negative, you know? Running for
Yeah,
office
yeah,
should be considered a beautiful thing. Most people don't get up and go and run for office, but it's something that everybody needs to. If you have it in your spirit to do, if you have something to contribute, right? You need to get up and do it. It shouldn't be something that you're punished, right?
yeah.
You're punished for. And so for me, when they said to me that my opponent had said, right, that he's going to make sure he doesn't sign on any paper that comes on his desk that has to do with me, I realized I was being punished for running for office. And so
Yeah,
I don't know what
politics is
else
like
took
that.
place behind the scenes, but I went through a period of not having income for at least 4 to 5 years after that. So,
Boy, that's harrowing to even imagine. But
oh yeah.
having said that, let me chip in also in this discussion. I used my researcher's lens and I did a little research on it, and I know that for a lot of people, this underemployment you just mentioned now is very typical with everybody. Most times, like when we come here as Africans, I don't know about other parts of Africa, but I do know about West Africa. Before we even get here, we are vetted. It's only the best. Most of the times, the Africans who end up here are middle class Africans who probably had a career somewhere, because you need to show all these accomplishments before you even get a visa. So when you come here and then you're going through legal and immigration status problems, so you take the job you see, and most times it's not uncommon for you see a doctor taking a job as a caregiver. It's not uncommon to see a lawyer taking a job as, the most menial jobs. They work in warehouses and all that. That's how the many people who don't have the benefit of family, even when they even have the benefit of having family members who have done well here, after staying in the house for like a month or two and enjoying free things, they will just one day wake up and ask you, brother, aren't you going to do something with yourself? And then you start going, and suddenly your reality is caregiving, your reality is working in one warehouse, your reality, I don't know other people's reality. When me and you were having this discussion prior to our making this production, you said something about some people's reality being that they were students here, somewhere that they transitioned. That is well and fine. But these days, a lot of people sell their clothes, they sell their houses, sell their land, and come to pursue an American dream, and they get here and they get into a struggle. The first struggle is legalizing themselves, putting themselves through a legal pathway. That is a major struggle, improving their immigration status. Then, secondly, when finally they get a job, they are discriminated against. They don't even have the necessary, even when they come with the necessary skill sets, because of this thing of underemployment and everything, they are discriminated against because we didn't create it. We came and met a situation where there was already systemic racism. And even though you keep looking at yourself as different, because many Africans don't understand that concept of racism, but suddenly you start saying that, you don't seem to be in your place. You don't know your place. When you're talking to some people, the way they're just answering you, it's as if like this one doesn't know his place. So you start to have these barriers and everything.
Mhm.
And then you mentioned it already. You said lack of social capital. It's, people forget that if you're a lawyer in Africa, you're a lawyer in Nigeria, a lawyer in Ghana, you're a lawyer in Cote d'Ivoire, it is from your social group that you get your jobs and your briefs and you get strengthened. Social capital is very important. That's why people go and join. Many of the people who come in from Africa probably were members of social clubs like Port Harcourt Club, Port Harcourt Polo Club, Lagos Club, all those Lagos Boat Club. And then they come here and they can't even get anywhere. They don't even have, the best they can do is go to a town union meeting or go to a church group. But the larger part of society, they're not part of any network, Then meanwhile, there's also occupational segregation, Unfortunately for us, unfortunately for Africans, even if you get qualified, you get today I went to yesterday I went to Dell, and today I went to Emerson. And I did see some Africans there, but you see them, I dare say, they will not be the ones managing. They will just be part of projects. They will just be part of operational teams. That is not to say some have not grown to become managers, but the concentration will be in the lower end of it. But they're just happy to be that they're in Dell, they're in Emerson, they're in Amazon, they're in these beautiful places we all know, but we know that they are not getting their real worth in there, but they're happy. They've grown. They've achieved some accomplishment. They can say, I am working in Facebook. We have a huge Google campus and Facebook campus in Austin here. So they can make all these assertions that we're working there. But then we know that they are not necessarily part of. Now and then, because of my research, I find out that one finds a way to make himself amenable to management, and he starts to be a rising star. If you see him on the road and say, my brother, he cannot even greet you. He has to keep a straight face.
That's
He
funny.
has been polished. He has been polished and straightened into being an American. The best he can do is do like this to you, So these are challenges there. It's a totally different reality when we come to America, and
Oh
it is
yeah.
a totally different reality we live in America. And making your way and finding your way through America is not easy. Many times people are in transition between one job and the other, and that's when family pressures are coming from back home. Why are you not doing this, and why are you not doing that, and why are you not doing this? Do you have any other story regarding these same challenges that you
Oh, I
want
have a
to
ton.
share?
I have a ton. I have to just choose which one I'm okay with say right now. There's so many. I mean, it's just like we said, it's just the way you have to when you come to a place, you kind of have to pay attention and get to know what you're up against. I came from Nigeria, happy-go-lucky, as I always tell you. What you see is what you get. It is what it is. I move on, I carry on. But then behind the scenes, there are people who just don't like you for showing up as yourself. And so they would take whatever means they can to stifle you and stop you. And so that has been my
Yeah.
experience. And so it's, you think of the fact that, you ran for office, but you ran for office on the strength that it's what was required at the time, not realizing that you were just exposed to give I don't know how to refer to them, but to give people a chance to pick at you, to drain you, to stress you, and all of that. And so, if anybody were to say to me now, what was your experience running for office? It was a horrible experience, and I don't even think I would advise anybody I love to go into politics at all. As much as it's a service type of work, but you want to proceed with caution because the same way you're excited to fight for those issues is the same way some people don't want you to be the next person because there's a pecking order and you just walked right into their little and muddied up their little thing they had going on there, and so you become a target for that, because of that. And so for you, you just have to be wise, pay attention, say less than necessary, just move with caution. That becomes your reality. Move with caution. Don't let your intentions be revealed because people are just targeting you for no reason because you're you. So
Yeah.
it's a very, very, that's my experience. Whenever I speak about what I have gone through, what I have experienced,
Yeah.
and that's my
I, I, I
experience.
sincerely I sincerely think that the African comes culturally disadvantaged when they come to America because our way of doing things is so different. We
Oh
are
yeah.
gregarious, we are social, we are a culture that likes to do our show be, we like to do things together. We are very, very
We're open.
boisterous,
We're
and you come to a
expressive and
society where
open.
people are quiet, people want to be by themselves, you feel that you get a sense that people are browbeaten, that in the
And then want
workplace
to
people just
drag
stay by
you
themselves.
and want to drag you into that reality as well. So,
Yeah,
and
no, no,
it's crazy that when you're
the quicker you
interacting,
adjust to that reality, the quicker you survive in it. Because
you learn. Mhm.
if you are one of the people who like, hey, Bill tells you a joke, and just as we used to do back home, we laugh very boisterously, I can assure you HR will come looking for you soon. You know, you don't do all those things. They want to polish you into their own mold.
The reality is that sometimes they
It's a
ask
very
you
militaristic
questions.
society, you know.
It is, it is. They ask you questions. You're not supposed to actually respond to those questions. You're supposed to respond to the intention that's behind those questions. You have to be careful. But these are not things I learned. I learned it the hard way. I learned it, it was hard. It was like you
After
find
you've
that
been fired,
they're not asking
after you've
you,
been fired a
they're not
number of
asking you a
times.
real question. They're trying to, and you have to kind of, so that's so yes, you struggle because if you miss the mark, if you miss those innuendos, if those things go over your head, you find yourself in a situation you should have planned better for if you had been more alert, if you had been more like self-conscious and aware, you would have guarded better in those situations because I dare say you were targeted to be set up and then pulled out of the way and there's no other reason why that will be the case if not that you qualify, you're more than qualified for whatever role it
Mm.
is. And so based on that, they choose to make life difficult. And then when we talk about how to make it better because we always have to, the only way to make it better is, I'm not lying, become like them, conceal your intentions, conceal your backstory, conceal what you're doing. Do not put any information out there until it's necessary because I promise you, anything you speak about, there are people trying to take it one way or another. And so those are the struggles in when you come to America is understanding that people are really different from you. And so you have to quickly learn the language of the land. You understand? Transparency is not what
Mm.
happens here. Oh no, there's no transparency. So understand that if somebody's saying this to you, they mean something else. So the quicker you learn,
Yeah.
the better. And the quicker you're going to, climb up the ranks.
Yeah, Weruche, I would like you to tell us some of those nice stories. You told me that earlier on that the reality of America being hard and a place where immigrants suffer is not the
Mhm.
reality of some people you know. Please tell
Yes.
me of these other people you know that and how their
So
own reality was.
you have people who came here and maybe came as students and didn't delve into politics. Okay. I had a horrible experience because I delved into politics. They came in focused on just applying themselves in their programs, medicine, nursing, and just and those people, because income is what you need in America, right? For anything to thrive for you. And so with income, which in those areas are constant, you find yourself being able to go to work, do your job, and still manage your family and keep going. Do you know what I mean? It becomes an easier life for you. And so you find that those people, everybody's going to have struggles. Your struggles don't necessarily have to be social related, work related. You could have family struggles. That's life, right? But so I'm trying to put it in perspective for you that it's not about just having it perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Everything is going to always have its own little thing. However, for these people, what I have observed over the years is people in certain fields that, first of all, are needed, right? Like the healthcare field is a field once you go in, your job is constantly needed, right? And
Yeah, especially if you're a
so
nurse. I hear
especially if you're a
the
doctor
nurses
or
even
you're a
have
nurse,
straight pathways to green card.
very straight pathway. So you find that those people, again, they have family issues, but they don't, not all of them do. Some of them do, but a lot of them have ways to just, income is not the issue. They carry on. They exist, they carry on. And so those people are the ones that I have seen that have had better realities. And
But
that's pretty much it.
but
Not
is it
just
not
nurses, but
ironical that
even engineers as well, even IT specialists, a lot of
Yeah.
different groups. Some of my friends came here and then they took some of the certifications, project management, and they got like, good income right out the gate. So they're different. But the point is, those are the jobs that really stay out of the way. But if you come to a job that it requires you to be front and center, for instance, entertainment, for instance, politics, then you're out there, right? People are going to know you. They're going to know your name. And that just
And
attracts more eyes on you. It puts more eyes on you. And at that point, if you don't have the awareness, right? That indeed, just because you ran for office, a lot of people know your name now. If you're not even aware of it, then you find yourself, in a position where anything can happen to you because now more people are digging into your business, more people are involving themselves in your business, and it's like, okay, what's going on here? Oh no, but you put yourself out there, you ran for office,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
those,
I,
it's
I,
it's
I
it's, it's quite a contrast.
I can tell you for this, right, that going into politics for the African immigrant is common, but it's still to a large extent an exception. We have mayors I think we have in Boulder County, we have a Nigerian that is a mayor there. I know of some other places in the Northeast, and they are very involved in politics in Minnesota and Minneapolis and all those areas. But it is still largely an exception for most African immigrants to take part in
Mm-hmm.
politics, maybe at the county level. But the reality is that most people are just trying to survive in whatever workplace they find themselves, whatever work
Indeed.
environment, even when they qualify as nurses. And is it not ironical that people come here as doctors when
Mm.
and they will not be able to integrate themselves into the system until they go through a tedious board certification process. Meanwhile, people can just come here as nurses, dentists, dental product optometrist, and pass their exams and just hit the ground running and even get a pathway to green cards. So it's really a different thing but even getting that pathway to green card is only one part of the whole story. It's not the whole story. It's still a challenge. There are still milestones to achieve. Every single day, there's one new milestone that you want to achieve. Every day, there's one new milestone. And this puts strains and pressures on people. Well, is there one other thing you want to say before we round up this interesting topic?
No, there's nothing else really. It's just that the struggles
So,
are
on the
present.
final analysis, do you think America is hard, or is it a myth? Is it a reality? Is it that they don't want
I would only speak,
African immigrants to come?
I would only speak on from my end. America hasn't been easy, 20 years. It hasn't been easy. But it's something that I have grown. I grew up in America. I became more aware and I developed better boundaries in America. You become a different person when you experience certain things. You just make sure it doesn't steal the good soul that you have, but you have to understand that there's no one to protect you but you, right? You have to develop those boundaries, to
So you fall
learn.
into the category of America is hard.
Oh, America has been for me. It has been. Yeah.
Uh,
But if you look at it from a 20-year standpoint, it has been, but
uh,
it's also something that has grown me. It has, I can now understand actual motivations, mindsets, and people's it's just subconscious biases and things like that. I can read people better just based on the experience. And maybe that's what it was about. Maybe that's what it was about.
okay.
So,
So even though it has been hard, it has been enriching for you. I guess every single
indeed.
person there has their own individual story. If you have a story, or if you feel some strongly about this topic we've addressed today, put a comment down. Tell us something. And if you have any ideas about what we could discuss regarding the African immigrant experience, also reach out to us and make a comment on that. We have come to the end of this. This is a topic we will continue to explore, but out there, we know that a lot of people are feeling that African immigrants in America are trying to block the people back home from coming. It's not a straight job. What we're just saying is, I think they're just warning you that when you come here, it's not as straightforward as you think. It is harder than you think.
Can I
But
say something about
America being a hard place for people is an individual experience. Some people have it easy and some people have it hard. But collectively, it is really, really a hard place. It's not even easy for the Americans, talk less of the immigrants who come here, you know.
Yeah, I
So
want to say
on
something.
that
I want to
note,
give my advice to the people who want to come. I do not say they shouldn't come. I need them to come because again, it's an individual thing. Everybody has to grow, up, and America might be the place that gives you the best lessons for your soul's growth. We have 3 more minutes to go. Yeah, America might be the
okay.
best place for you if it's your intention to come to America. If it's your dream, your desire, you need to do what it takes. Get yourself right and come to America. One of the advice I'll give again is the fact that try to get yourself established in America faster than as quickly as possible. Don't leave it open-ended. Have a plan even before you get here as to how you're going to establish yourself in America. Know that when you come, it might not go the way you plan, but just make sure you're doing your own part to get yourself there. Don't just come
Well,
here and figure and think that it's going to work itself out. It could work itself out, but you could also find yourself in a situation where, you're in a rut longer than necessary. And do your best to dip
yeah.
into your social network, both for economic reasons, financial reasons, and just for emotional support, moral support. Moral support is something you absolutely need if you're coming to America. You need people that root for you, not people that are watching you and say nothing to you. You need people that root for
Mm-hmm.
you, are there for you, give you
People
are
who give you
armed with
soft
good
landing.
advice. Will give you good advice. Good advice will take you everywhere, and that's it. That's all I have to say.
Okay. It's there's I've lived in many cities. I've lived in Abuja, and no place can be said to be easy. The key
Mm-mm.
ingredients is that you find happiness where you go, but it's hard in America, maybe because of the structure of America, maybe because of the bills that are unrelenting, maybe because of the constance of uncertainty in your jobs and all that. So it makes it a topsy-turvy place to survive in, and it needs people to be a little bit more understanding of that reality from our brothers back home.
Yeah.
Well, we have got to that point again. We'll urge you, if you've liked what we have been discussing, make a comment, share our content, like it. We see that the likes and the views are increasing. We are very encouraged by that, and we are slowly edging towards our next milestone in our subscription. Subscribe and be part of our growth. Thank you very much for being part of this process. It's an individual thing, but share your own story. Tell your own story. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Weruche, thanks again for another beautiful edition of this of this podcast.
Thank you
You have a
too.
wonderful time.
You too. Thank you. Bye.